The moment she sat down, everything in his world shifted and, he didn't even know why. Armand had chosen that corner table for a reason. It was the one place in the cafe where memories didn't suffocate him. The sunlight fell gently there, not harsh enough to expose the heaviness in his eyes, not dim enough to drown him in his own thoughts. It had become his quiet refuge after everything had fallen apart. Every morning at 9:15, like clockwork.
You're watching SK Stories, where powerful stories of kindness, courage, and second chances remind us that even a small act of compassion can change someone's life. If you believe kindness still matters, hit the like button, share this video with someone who needs it today, comment below, and subscribe to SK Stories for more inspiring stories.
Bag beside the chair as if she belonged there. She looked slightly breathless, like someone who had rushed in to escape something. Her eyes scanned the table briefly, and then she froze. It was only then that she realized her mistake. Her gaze met his, and in that brief moment, there was confusion, embarrassment, and something deeper, something unspoken. She quickly apologized, her cheeks flushing as she stood up halfway, fumbling to grab her bag. But Armand didn't respond immediately. For reasons he couldn't explain, he simply stared at her, as if time had paused to let something important unfold. It wasn't her beauty, though she was undeniably graceful in a simple, effortless way. It wasn't even the awkwardness of the situation. It was the feeling, a strange, quiet feeling that settled inside him, like a whisper telling him to pay attention. She hesitated, unsure whether to leave or stay. And in that moment, something unexpected happened. Armand, who hadn't willingly spoken to a stranger in months, gestured subtly for her to sit. She sat back down. That small, accidental moment became the beginning of something neither of them could have predicted. Her name was Zoya, and she had walked into the cafe by chance, trying to find a quiet place after a long, exhausting morning. She had been distracted, lost in her thoughts, replaying conversations that had left her feeling small and invisible. She didn't notice the reserved sign on the table, didn't notice Armand sitting there until it was too late. And somehow, that mistake led her here, sitting across from a man whose eyes carried a depth she couldn't ignore. At first, there was silence, the kind that feels heavy but not uncomfortable. They both avoided speaking, unsure of how to begin, but something about that silence felt honest, real. Armand noticed the way her fingers trembled slightly as she lifted her cup. Zoya noticed the way he stared out the window, as if he was searching for something he had lost. Eventually, words found their way between them, not forced, not rehearsed, just natural. She explained how she had mistaken the table, how she hadn't meant to intrude. He simply nodded, telling her it was fine. But what he didn't say was that for the first time in a long time, he didn't feel alone. Days passed, and that accidental meeting became a quiet routine. Zoya started coming to the cafe more often, sometimes intentionally choosing that same table, sometimes pretending it was still a coincidence. Armand, who once avoided connections, found himself waiting for her presence. They never rushed into anything. There were no dramatic confessions, no grand gestures, just conversations that grew deeper with time. They spoke about ordinary things, at first their favorite books, the music they loved, the little details that make up a person's world. But slowly, those conversations turned into something more. Zoya shared how she had always felt overlooked, how she had spent years trying to prove her worth to people who never truly saw her. Armand listened in a way no one ever had, not interrupting, not offering empty reassurances, just understanding. And then, one day, Armand spoke. He spoke about loss, about how he had once believed his life was complete, only to have it shattered in a way he never saw coming. About how he had stopped believing in anything after that, not in people, not in hope, and certainly not in the idea that things happen for a reason. Zoya didn't try to fix his pain. She didn't tell him to move on or that everything happens for the best. She simply stayed, and somehow, that was enough. The cafe became more than just a place. It became a space where two broken souls found a quiet kind of healing. Armand began to smile more, not the forced kind, but the kind that reached his eyes. Zoya started to feel seen, not for what she tried to be, but for who she truly was. But life doesn't let things stay simple for long. One evening, Zoya didn't show up. Armand told himself it didn't matter. People have lives. Things happen. But when the next day passed, and the day after that, something inside him began to unravel. The silence he had once embraced now felt suffocating. He realized then how much her presence had meant to him. When she finally returned, she looked different. Tired, distant. The light in her eyes seemed dimmed. She tried to smile, but it didn't reach her face. That day, the truth came out. Zoya had been offered a job in another city, a chance to finally build a life for herself, to escape the environment that had made her feel invisible. It was everything she had once wanted, and yet, there was hesitation in her voice, because leaving meant leaving this. Leaving him. Armin felt a familiar fear creeping in, the fear of losing something meaningful again. But this time, he didn't retreat. He didn't shut down. Instead, he faced it. He told her she had to go, not because he didn't care, but because he cared enough not to hold her back. He had spent too long living in the shadow of his past. He wouldn't let her do the same. Zoya's eyes filled with tears, not of sadness, but of understanding. In that moment, she realized something powerful. This wasn't just about coincidence anymore. This wasn't just about a mistaken seat in a café. This was about purpose, about timing, about the way two lives can intersect at exactly the right moment to change each other forever. The day she left, the cafe felt empty again. Armon sat at their table, staring at the chair across from him. But this time, the silence didn't feel heavy. It felt peaceful, because he knew something he hadn't believed in before, that some people come into your life not to stay forever, but to transform you. And sometimes, what feels like a mistake is actually something far greater. If this story touched your heart even a little, take a moment to like this video and share it with someone who might need to hear it today. And before you go, tell me in the comments, have you ever met someone by chance who changed your life forever? Because maybe, just maybe, nothing is ever truly by mistake.